Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll have a look at the latest deluge heading across southern England. We'll also be having a look at the heavy rain over Scotland, and then we'll finally be having a look at Tropical Storm Elsa, which is heading over Cuba and into parts of Florida potentially over the next few days. Now we're mainly going to focus on short range weather in this video. We'll return to some longer stuff tomorrow, but it's really because the most interesting and impactful weather is going to be over the next 24 to 48 hours. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Do remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link is in the description. So we're looking at the latest radar for the deluge over southern England at the moment. You can see very heavy rain is spreading up from the southwest, edging its way northwards and eastwards. We also do have some heavy rain over Scotland. Now this is sort of the remnants of those heavy thunderstorms we saw yesterday over northern England. They've slowly sort of headed northwards. No lightning activity anymore, just heavy rain, and it's getting helped by the hills and the mountains as moisture. We get relief rainfall as the moisture hits the mountains and spreads upwards. So it's enhancing that rainfall. We do have a yellow warning in force for that rain, and I'll show you that in a minute. But it could be quite impactful there. Surface flooding, because actually Western Scotland have had quite a dry last few months, so they do need the rain in some areas. But if we have a look at the main area of rain, you can see the centre of low is just off the coast of the southwest at the moment, and it's going to be spreading inland. This rain is going to head northwards and eastwards overnight tonight and should clear most areas in Wales and central England sort of by tomorrow rush hour. May linger towards northern England and maybe northern Wales. But tomorrow we've got to keep an eye out for heavy showers and thunderstorms potentially breaking out towards the centre of low. And you can see the centre of low here already has some showers spiralling around. If we do run back to the start of this radar loop, you can see the rain gradually heading in northwards and eastwards. Quite slow progress over this evening, but it should sort of fill in most of England. Luckily, it's coming overnight, and if we do run the future forecast, it really does make quite slow progress overnight tonight. Luckily, it is, of course, overnight, so not many people are going to be impacted too much by it, but it will slowly clear, and it could have some, again, heavy showers in sort of central areas. But it's going to spread northwards with some very heavy rain in northern England as well. Now, if we do have a look at the latest UK Met Office run, it's a 3 o'clock run, so you can see the heavy showers in northern Scotland at the moment. Those will eventually peter out over the course of the evening. And then we look at the deluge in the south, heading northwards, and sort of by midnight, sort of reaching North Midlands, East Anglia. Still some heavy showers in behind it. And then as we head towards tomorrow rush hour, it's sort of towards northern England, maybe northern Wales, getting to southern Scotland where we still have some persistent rain. And we've got more showers heading into sort of northeastern areas, East Anglia, central southern England, and then tomorrow afternoon or lunchtime into afternoon, you see those heavy showers and potentially thunderstorms start getting going again in many areas before turning a little bit drier. But it looks like there's maybe another area of rain heading through Tuesday evening, but it could be turning a little bit drier through Tuesday afternoon in some western and central areas. Still could be many showers around, and we'll just have to keep an eye on how convection does go tomorrow. Beyond that, still more showers around, but it eventually does look like weather is going to die down a little bit. Still quite a few heavy showers around us. We do have an upper trough over the top of the country, so always can have a few showers around in the day, but then it does look like it's generally going to be quite dry. Again, yes, of course, showers around and potentially for some more heavy rain skirting the south, but nothing too severe looking like it's going to be happening beyond the next sort of 24 hours where we do have heavy rain and potential for some thunderstorms and heavy showers. We'll actually briefly now have a look at the wind gusts as well, as we do have a wind warning in force for tomorrow. You can see winds are starting to gust maybe 40-50 miles an hour overnight tonight into tomorrow morning across the south coast. Inland areas maybe 30 or 40 miles an hour, and quite widely 40 miles an hour by tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be quite a blustery day for many areas before winds start to die down back to around gusts of maybe 15 or 20 miles an hour by sort of Wednesday morning, and then winds falling quite light again by sort of Thursday, Friday. If we do have a look at the latest yellow warnings, we do have a rain warning in northern Scotland at the moment, and western Scotland, heading into parts of Glasgow, Edinburgh and Perth, as we do have that band of rain. It should clear, and this warning expires tonight at midnight. And then tomorrow we have a wind warning in southern and southeastern areas from 1 a.m. till 12 p.m. tomorrow, as it's looking like strong winds could be coming across parts of the south. Again, not particularly strong winds, here gusts of 40 to 50 miles an hour with heavy showers and some heavy rain with that. Now, if this was in winter, I suspect there wouldn't be a wind warning in force, but because we've got full leaf on the trees, it could provide a little bit more disruption than if we didn't have any leaves on the trees. So just keep an eye on that if you're in the south and southeast. Could be quite blustery, quite significantly tomorrow morning, but most of the day in England and Wales, it does look like it's going to be quite blustery around. So just keep an eye out for that wind if you're doing anything outdoors tomorrow, as it could whip up and give some isolated, quite strong gusts. So now we'll go across the Atlantic and we'll have a look at Tropical Storm Elsa. Now, probably difficult to see exactly where it is, but it's right in the southeast of this map here. And you can see this little area of low pressure coming out of the Caribbean, and it's going to be heading over Cuba over the next few hours before its center starts to track up the western coast of Florida. Then starts to head inland, sort of in Florida, then head up through the Carolinas, and then head out into the Atlantic and could get caught up in the jet stream. And we have to keep an eye on how that does develop over the next sort of 7 days, as it's likely to impact UK's weather probably by next weekend, maybe into the early next week, where it could sort of affect the jet stream. Now, I don't know if directly going to impact the UK with its low pressure, but it'll be interesting to see how it does develop the jet stream. Now, it's not a very intense hurricane, so it probably won't affect the jet stream too much, but it could provide slight ripples that could edge high pressure or edge low pressure nearer to the UK. So we'll have to keep an eye on that in tomorrow's video when we look at more of the longer term stuff. If we do have a look at the current forecast cone for Tropical Storm Elsa, you can see conditions are not really great for hurricane development, so it's going to remain tropical storm. Did develop into a hurricane a few days ago before getting downgraded once again, but it looks like it's going to maintain tropical storm strength heading through Florida up sort of western Florida's coast. Could be quite a significant storm surge there, heading inland, turning to a tropical depression before actually strengthening again as it heads off the coast. So it could provide some significant impacts in Virginia, North Carolina, Delaware, sort of Washington DC, perhaps even getting close to New York, depending on exact tracks. We have to keep an eye on that. Could be providing some very heavy rain and strong winds, of course, before it becomes post-tropical as it heads out into the Atlantic. And we'll just have to keep an eye on that longer term. You can see this dotted part of the cone is very uncertain and is subject to quite large variations. If we do have a look at the peak surge, only 1 to 2 feet, maybe 2 to 4 feet towards sort of Tampa Bay area, which could be quite significant for low-lying areas. Again, not massive storm surges. We've seen 10 to 15, maybe even up to 20 feet storm surges from major hurricanes before in these areas, but still could provide some damage to sort of hotels along the beach, people living close to the shore. Pretty sure a lot of the area is quite low-lying. Remember, Florida is basically swampland with all its lakes and stuff, so it's very low-lying. So we do see a significant storm surge. It could, even if it's only 2 to 4 feet, could come quite far inland and cause some disruption. So we have to keep an eye out for that. But could still provide quite significant conditions, even though it doesn't look too bad. If you look at wind speed probabilities, you can see quite strong winds heading into Florida, and then the uncertainty becomes quite large as the exact track is quite uncertain. But it's quite a large storm with its sort of outer band, but its peak winds really concentrated in its center. We'll have to keep an eye where that center does cross into Florida, as that's where we're going to see probably the most significant impacts. You can see rainfall is going to be quite a bit of an issue, perhaps 6, maybe 10 inches of rain potentially in its sort of core area, but it's going to be providing quite widespread rain from this in sort of the south west portion of Florida, and then many central areas, Georgia, northern Florida, heading into sort of South Carolina, North Carolina, still seeing 2 to 4 inches potentially, and maybe a little bit more. So still quite widespread impacts from the rain, even though it does look like the winds will start to die down as it sort of degrades as it heads on land. So Could be quite significant impacts from this. By no means is this a significant storm, but it's been impacting quite large areas, a large area of America. So we'll have to keep an eye on how that does develop, and I'm sure the American forecasters are doing their warnings sufficiently. If we now if we do first or lastly have a look at the flash flooding potential. Now, there's only a slight chance of flash flooding in these areas from sort of heavy rain and also from flooding from sort of storm surge as well. Only 10%, so not expecting significant flooding, but again, still could be surface water flooding from a heavy sort of burst or heavy outer band from a storm. As we have a look at the radar in a minute, you can see there are some quite significant thunderstorms on its sort of outer band of the storm right now. If we do have a look at its latest sort of satellite data, this is the current sort of cloud data from satellites, and you can see the swirl of cloud here. This is Tropical Storm Elsa. You can see these yellow dots are lightning strikes. It's not going to be all the lightning strikes, but it does show you where you got the intense convection and thunderstorms. And as I said, there are on the northern band of the storm, there are some quite significant thunderstorms affecting parts of Florida at the moment. And you can see the central core of the storm heading up northwards, going to be impacting parts of Florida very soon. But its center is going over Cuba at the moment, still providing quite significant conditions there. If we do move on to the infrared, this shows convection very well, and you can see where the main sort of center of convection is over the storm, starting to head into Cuba at the moment, and then you can see its outer bands north, got significant convection over southern parts of Florida. So even as the center is still quite far away, still starting to see they are now starting to see the significant impacts from this storm, as it does look like these storms will sort of be the first wave before we start to see the heavier, more persistent rain and wind head up from the south. Now, lastly, we will have a look at the live radar from Tampa Bay. Sort of this is where we could be seeing the sort of the center of the storm go past. So at the moment, you can see this is the radar of the center of the storm. Now, it doesn't look particularly significant, as of course it is over Cuba, so it's not getting it's not quite in range of American radar at the moment, but you can see the significant storms on its outer band that is in American radar distance and is affecting many areas, providing quite localized but very significant rainfall, spreading in. And this will be gradually heading up northwards with its heavy rain and thunderstorms. You can also see there are more severe thunderstorms around in other parts of America, but of course these will eventually clear. But it's the wind, rain, and storm sort of merged all together, which is going to be providing the dangerous conditions. Now, if we do also have a look at Futurecast on this, we go full screen as well, you can see how the estimated radar has sort of the most significant conditions on its southern flank at the moment, when we did see the highest values on the infrared, and it's going to be heading northwards and is slowly going to be edging its way towards America. So we'll have to keep an eye on it tomorrow once it comes into sort of American radar distances, as I do suspect it could pack quite a punch, even though it is only a tropical storm. So we'll have to keep an eye out from that. But it's first sort of major storm affecting quite a big, large area of land. Now, we did see some tropical storms briefly develop in the Gulf of Mexico before really degrading as they went inland. But this does look like it's going to be quite a long track storm. As you can see, it's still going to have tropical storm status as it heads out into the Atlantic. Quite heavy rain affecting many states, many populated areas of the East Coast. So it's going to be probably the first significant storm of the season. So we have to keep an eye how this storm season does develop, as it does look like it could be again another above average season. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.